Hello students, here's a famous poem called Wanderthirst, written by Gerald Galt. This is a poem about a man's overwhelming desire for endless wandering and travel. In this poem, the poet Gerald Galt has an irresistible desire or a long desire for traveling, for going to different places to see the unseen and to know the unknown things or places. He has the thirst for traveling far and wide. Now, the word wander simply means the journey or a voyage. The word thirst is used to express the voyager's thirst or the traveler's thirst about a sea voyage. The poet is thirsty not only to wander here and there, but also to explore the unknown world, such as the wide roads and the blue hills. Now, let us see the first stanza. Beyond the east, the sun rised, beyond the west, the east. And east and west, the wander thirst that will not let me be. It works in me like madness, dear, to bid me say goodbye. For the seas call and the stars call, and oh, the call of the sky. In this stanza, the poet knows that beyond the sea in the east, there is sunrise, and beyond the west, there is the sea. Here, the poet personifies the east and west as the limitations of a person's thought and imagination. His desire to gain knowledge does not let him fixed to one place for a long time. And this natural call from within is forcing him to bid goodbye to all his friends and family members. Even the nature around him, like the sea, the sky, and the stars, are tempting him to explore new horizons and the unseen lands. So, adventurism works in him like madness. It is madness because when we travel long distances, we normally go with our friends and relatives. But then here in this poem, it's just the opposite. It made him to bid goodbye to his friends and relatives. Now, let's see the second stanza. I know not where the wide road runs, nor what the blue hills are. But a man can have the sun for a friend, and for his guide a star. And there is no end of voyaging when once the voice is heard. For the rivers call and the roads call, and oh, the call of a bird. In this stanza, the poet says that he is an inexperienced traveler. For normally, when we decide to travel, we know exactly where we are going. But then here we see he doesn't know where the wide road runs and the blue hills. And he says that he may be a stranger to a strange place or a new place, but he can take the sun as his friend and the star as his guide. He says, if a man hears the calls of rivers, the roads, and the birds, that is the call of beautiful and bountiful nature, he will never lose his appetite for visiting beautiful scenes and sights. And to feast his eyes and releases his desire, he will wander and wander. Now let us see the third stanza. Yonder the long horizon lies, and there by night and day the old ships draw to home again, the young ships sail away, and come I may, and but go I must. And if men ask you why, you may put the blame on the stars and the sun and the wide road and the sky. In this stanza, the poet says that the horizon lies at a distance in view. And he observes the return of the old ships and the departure of the new ones from distant places. He looks around and sees them. And this incoming and outgoing ships add to the urge of the poet for voyaging. At last, he tells us of the uncertainty of his return. He says, "Come I may," meaning his return is not sure, but go I must, meaning he was to go under any condition underlying his urge. And later on, he says that if any person asks him about his long trips, then he tells, instead of asking him the reason and blaming him, you should put the blame on nature, because it is the nature, like the stars, the sun, and the wide road, that have enticed the poet to go away. He says that all these elements demand that he keeps traveling and exploring the beauties of nature. And he can't deny that. As to feast his eyes and releases his desire, he will wander and wander.